Well, my acronym was just a ERGFUNKA, I believe, which I don't even remember, which basically just sort of 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, I can't count, I'm too busy, little bullet points that you could draw out of the way we do things at The Simpsons and how they perhaps can lend themselves to innovation and people generating ideas on their own. One of the ones I talked about is fight your first instinct, because generally that's the least creative idea, it's the most obvious idea. Try to look at stuff from a completely different angle, which is a way to do that. We try to sort of combine what seems like two unrelated ideas, and by jamming them together, sometimes you can get a new, fresh idea, building upon each other's ideas in brainstorming sessions, and having an environment. The E, at least I remember the E. The E is about environment and how important it is to have a creative environment and reinforce how creative it is, and be welcoming to creativity and supportive of creativity as well. Saying that, in every creative process or brainstorming process, ultimately, actually in any process, there's generally one person that has to decide which output they're going to actually advance and select from 5, 10, 30, 100 ideas, and that's the filter. And one of the things we have at the show, obviously, is we're generating these ideas all the time, but there's one person that's in charge of advancing one of those ideas, letting one of those ideas through, which I called a filter, and quite a creative move calling it the filter. And just how it's important to not advance the idea that you personally think is best, but instead advance the idea that uniformly the group often sees as best, because it sort of takes an individual out of the process, and you can use a bit of a focus group on the people that generated it. Is it going to play with the audience you're intending it for as well? Some of the things are simple, like just when someone has a bad idea, they shouldn't be scorned for it, their head shouldn't be shaved, they shouldn't be mocked, because a bad idea is an idea nonetheless, and you want to just really be supportive of this flow of ideas and this input of ideas, because that's going to get you eventually to a really great idea. So that's the biggest thing, is just making sure you're eliminating as many forces as you can that are going to limit new ideas coming up, and then the way ideas are treated. And at the show, we have the benefit of not having a lot of outside influence from people weighing in on the way we do the show, and it's allowed us sort of this freedom to do a lot of great things, which has made the show as great as it is. Well, it's a hurdle, certainly, and it constrains you in a little bit. I mean, obviously, we all have there's things we have to answer to, and clients are certainly one of them, and for us, ultimately, in some sense, the network is one of them. So I think we all would love to be creative without any restraint, but it's not reality. So I think it's an opportunity to be even more creative, knowing you're working inside a bit of a limited space, and you just have to be more creative. Simply hard work, and hard work of just constantly trying to keep generating as many new ideas as possible, and yet at the same time, I'm a television writer, so I'm very conscious of watching other television shows and movies, and seeing, I guess it's like in the advertising community, watching other ads and seeing what other people are doing, and it opens your eyes and broadens your eyes to the type of things that can be done, and then how can you go past that or expand past that, or maybe even build on at least that movement. So that's how I do it, is sort of try to take in as much as I can and then work with it and add my own innovation or creativity to what's out there. I would tell him not to date the girl he did, but he wouldn't listen. You remember what he was like. I wish I had, in one sense I would say I wish I had pursued a creative career earlier. I kind of got into writing late at, almost 30 years old, whereas many of my colleagues started in their 20s. However, I have this sort of unique business background, which has given me a sort of perspective on being creative and things that I'll generate as ideas that is different than my colleagues. So it's hard to regret anything you've done. I guess the point is just sort of take your background and use it as you go forward. Man, that's uplifting. If you're 18 listening to this, if this is going to be buried in a reverse time capsule, Joel, listen to that message.